immediately one of them ran and took a sponge. Mark. And one ran, not immediately. There's also of them. Immediately one of them, Mark is just one ran. And filled a sponge. And took a sponge and filled it. I think I'd have took a sponge and filled it, two actions as opposed to just fill the sponge. Luke has something sort of like this. Verse 36, coming to him, offering him vinegar. John has the mention that there is a vessel with vinegar, so I think that needs to come first before someone runs to it and fills out something from it. So I'll have John first. Now, there was a vessel. Full of vinegar. Now someone runs and fills up the sponge with vinegar. And immediately. And from Matthew and Mark. Not Luke. This and is also John. So Matthew, Mark, John, and now just Matthew immediately. And they filled a sponge. But it's not just they, it's one of them. Mark is just one. So Matthew, Mark, one. Just Matthew of them ran and took a sponge. Ran is both. And filled a sponge. A sponge is also John. Filled I'll save for later. Ran is both. Just Matthew and took a sponge. Luke doesn't have that, does it? John filled and filled it. Mark and filled. Matthew, Mark, and filled. I think I do need the it from Matthew, even though it's in italics. With vinegar. Mark. Full of vinegar. So full is just Mark. Actually, full of. I'd have to have both those words instead of with. Or I could have filled it full with vinegar. Full of vinegar or filled it full with vinegar. I think full with. Clearly it's all going to be one thing. If they're filling with vinegar, it wouldn't be some kind of mix. But full with would explain the consistency, the total filling of the sponge. And I know it already said filled full. But full with, it seems to go more to the point of how full the sponge is, as opposed to what the liquid is. I'm going to go with that, full with. Filled it full with. And I will use the vinegar mentioned in Luke as well. Matthew, they filled it with vinegar, put it on a reed, gave it to him to drink. So I could add, after they filled it with vinegar, put it on a reed, then I'd say, and coming to him, gave him to drink, or offering. Mark has on a reed, and gave him to drink. I'm not going to repeat the fact that they're giving him vinegar. If it already explains they filled the sponge with vinegar and they gave it to him to drink. you don't need to say what he's drinking again. So I'm just going to have this mention of vinegar from Luke 23:36 be the first mention from Matthew and Mark. John continues, and put it upon hyssop. Mark, and put it on a reed. Matthew, and put it on a reed. Maybe I could say a hyssop reed. All three, and put it in italics. The up part of upon is only John. On part is all three. Matthew a reed, Mark a reed, not Luke yet. John hyssop. John has and put it to his mouth. Matthew and gave him to drink. Mark and gave him to drink. But Luke has that one statement that I want to add. Coming to him and gave him to drink. Coming to him. There's an and after coming to him, but I don't think I need it after. Because if I say they put it on a hyssop reed and coming to him, I can just go right into gave him to drink. I don't have to have another and. So I'm going to put that and earlier. And I think I'm going to combine that with Matthew. And gave him to drink. Although John put it to his mouth. That's a very specific explanation. Matthew and Mark are more general. Gave him to drink. I would have to be specific first. And put it to his mouth to drink. Yeah, as opposed to gave him. Maybe then, since I wouldn't be able to use gave, put it to his mouth. Offering from Luke would actually work then. Put it to his mouth, offering him, then from Matthew and Mark, to drink. So this and from Matthew and Mark would be able to go there. And is also from John. So that and is all four.